right, thank you, Erica. All right, so now we're going to talk a little bit more about practice. We are specifically going to talk about lab management. So again, this is going to take up a large portion of your class time. I'm going to give you some tips and techniques of how to manage that large portion of your class time. So first, we're going to start with an activity. So get out a pen or a pencil, whatever, and an index card. They should be coming around. And as you get your index card, I want you to, from memory, draw Bloom's taxonomy. Yes. Bloom's taxonomy. So that pyramid from earlier today. All right. And make sure as you're drawing it, instead of actually writing down the words that we gave you, try to write it in your own words, right, for each level. Actually, you know what? Instead of writing it down in your own words, go ahead and write down an example of how your students might exhibit that level of Bloom's taxonomy. Yeah, sorry about that. All right, since we're a little short on cards, go ahead and do this in groups. So do it in your teaching groups. Only one person needs to do it, actually. Just do it in your groups. So find a buddy, find some friends. Actually, you know what? Instead of doing it in the normal pyramid shape, do it in a different shape. So try to challenge yourself to do it in like a circle instead of a pyramid and see how you could draw it like that. All right, team, if you can hear me, clap once. If you can hear me, clap twice. All right, how are you feeling right now? Overwhelmed. All right, overwhelmed, I hear angry. How else are we feeling? Yes, frustrated. Okay, I promise I'm not that bad of a teacher, all right? That was planned. Hopefully you felt frustrated. So the point of this activity was to show you what not to do when giving instructions such as during lab time. So what were a couple things that I did in particular that were frustrating? Can I get a volunteer? Yes, up here. Mike is coming. Yes, thank you for continuing to play our mic game. Yes.
We didn't already have index cards passed out to us?
Yes, excellent. So if you are going to do an activity which requires materials for your students, you want to make sure they are primed and ready to do that activity. So instead of having people pass them out as you are giving instructions, right, which is very distracting, you're looking around, looking for your index card. In this case, it wasn't even index cards, right? It was Post-it notes. So make sure you set up your students in advance to do the activity. Yes, something else from Scott here.
There wasn't clear directions given at the onset.
Yes, awesome. So as Scott mentioned, the directions at the very beginning were not very clear, right? Yes, let's go here with Anita. Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah, and the directions kept changing. That was very frustrating.
Yes.
First it was a pyramid, not a pyramid.
Yes.
A circle, a square.
It was so hard for me to keep a straight face when I was doing that. Yeah, so what Anita mentioned, the directions kept changing, right? So you need to be consistent with your directions. If you say something from the get-go and then you change it halfway through, your students are going to get super frustrated and are likely not going to listen to any more instructions that you give them because, hey, you might just change it again. Let's get maybe one more somewhere in the back here. Take your pick, dealer's choice. Yes.
No reasoning for why we're doing the activity?
Yes, excellent. Why am I barking all these directions at you? Who knows? There's nothing up on the board, right? You need a pen and use either side of your index card. That's not super helpful. All right, so thank you all for pointing out a couple of my flaws. I appreciate it. All right, so when you give directions, and this isn't necessarily just for lab time, this is whenever you're giving directions, you want to make sure that you're giving clear directions that are effective, right? So we hit a couple of these points already. Directions should be complete, given in consistent format, right? No wishy-washy back and forth, do this, no, do this.